Hello friends, today we're going to do a little food storage. I like to do food storage. Sometimes I'll buy grains in bulk, 25-pound bags, and you have to seal them up either in Mylar bags. Now if you do them in these, you can buy these, different sizes, and they're open on one end. These are sealed up because I already sealed up this part. And I just use my flat iron to seal these up. And then I can just take my funnel, put it right there, put my grains or oats or whatever I'm doing in, and then I will put an oxygen absorber in. These oxygen absorbers, I buy them in 100 pack. And when I open a pack, because they'll go bad if they're left open, I'll put about 10 or 15, whatever I can fit, in a pint mason jar, and then I'll put the lid on real tight, and they suck the air and they'll keep. And then when you open them, you get in, you get out really quickly because they'll start running on you. A jar sealer just goes on your jar. There's a place for a regular mouth jar, and you take this off, which I'll do in a minute, and it'll go in a wide mouth jar. Put your lid on there, and you'll just put that on and turn it on, and it'll suction it right down. Sometimes if it doesn't suction, you might have to get a new lid. These are not new lids. I bought these jars the other day at a yard sale. They're not cracked, nothing. There's nothing wrong with them, and they have the lids, but they're might have been used. But anyway, they look like they're pretty new. I don't know. But there were 12 jars for $5. In the store, you'll pay $16 for jars. And I had 5 of these square, which these are real neat. When my mother used to do canning, we had a lot of square jars. They're square on the bottom. And I got about 5 of these, and these are pretty old jars. I don't see those anymore. So I was really happy to get these. But I often go to flea markets. If I see jars and they're in good shape, I'll generally buy them, even though I have a lot of jars. You know, sometimes one breaks or something. I don't know. They're cheap enough. I guess I'll put my grains up. It's so much cheaper to buy them in bulk. And when I'm eating them every day, steel cut oats are the best for you. You can't beat them. And you really want organic too. Today we're going to bag up oats. And these are steel cut oats. I like steel cut oats and I eat them every morning. And so I'm going to bag up, this is an old pickle jar. And I'm going to put my sort of everyday supply in here, and I'm not going to seal it. And then I'm going to fill up some jars with what I have left. And these will keep for a very, very, very long time. This is 25-pound bags. I bought it the other day in a health food store. They don't always have the bulk, but I was wanting steel cut organic oats. And I looked down and there was one bag of 25 pounds. And I thought, okay, it's for me. It's got my name on it. I think it's heavy. I'm going to open this up. I don't know if you grew up with parents that canned or not. My mother did a lot of canning. She'd always can peaches and green beans. We had a big garden. And I always like to can. I don't can all my food by any means. I freeze a lot of things, as you'll see if you follow my show. I even freeze my jams and my applesauce, because I really don't want to can them. Sometimes if I'm making a little extra jars of jelly, I will use the water bath canner. Fill up this pickle jar. If you have a couple of pickle jars, you could almost fill those out. But one's enough, because the rest of them I want to seal up. But these will keep for a long time. I'm not really worried about them. You can buy steel cut oats and shelf stable for a long time. And I love them. I'll put fresh strawberries on them. That's what I had this morning. Or I'll put some of my fresh homemade applesauce on them. What's in there if you want to. I'll put blueberries on them. I just put all kinds of things on there. And I love them. Makes a good, healthy start to my day. And I'll label this, put the lid on it, and it's ready to go. I've got to do some of these jars now. I need more jars. I have 6, 7 here. There's a lot of oats in this. We'll seal them with a sealer meal. And I may do some of that too. Put the lid on that. Make sure it's kind of dry. Nothing on it. And it charges with a little port that goes in here like a phone port. You charge it up. And you can just put it on here and turn it on. I charged it a couple days ago. I'm having sitting in a closet. You don't want to be setting out. Anything you store should be in a dark place, like a closet or something. So you want to make sure it's in a dark place. And every now and then I'll just check my seals. Sometimes one will come loose. They're not going to spoil or anything that fast, so they'll be fine. It means it should be sealed. It's sealed. And we'll do the next one. If you want to use the Mylar bags, I might use one. And then when I get through, when I get this full, it's about here probably, I can take my curling iron, I'll show you that, and I can just seal that up. Money. This is the cheapest way to buy any kind of pound bags, but if you're not going to use it, it's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your money. But if you'll use them, it's a really good thing to do. I buy wheat and sometimes ancient grains. I have a lot of ancient grains, but if you don't buy them from a good company, they'll have chaff in them and sometimes a little rock. Like white beans can have that too, but you have to sift through them. I buy my ancient grains mainly from a company called Ancient Grains, and they're always clean. So just find a company that has really clean product. You'll spend way too much time sifting through it otherwise. Okay, these jars are sealed, and what I did with the oxygen absorbers, the big pack I had, I went ahead and put them in quart jars. The top, it'll suck down. If it doesn't, you can always seal it with your jar sealer. And I got about 3 jars. There are 100 in that pack, so there's about 30 in a jar. When you use these, you just get in there quickly, get what you need out, put the lid back on, and if you need to seal it with a jar sealer, do so. You want to keep these sealed, airtight. See, that's a dull as opposed to, that one's not sealed. It's different. You can hear it. This one is sealed. So you want to keep this sealed very tightly, or these will overrun. But otherwise, if it's sealed, they'll keep a long, long, long time. What I'm going to do, just to have this many jars, I'm going to show you how to do one bag. And like I said, I've already sealed the top over to here. I left enough opening to put the oats in. You just have to kind of hold it with your hand. This will hold quite a few oats. When these jars are all gone, which will be a long time, put them in jars too. But they'll keep in here a very long time. Let's set this on the table. Should set up since it has smoked oats. I'll be eating oats for a long time, won't I? But I like them. Sometimes I'll eat them for dinner at night. Not real often, but once in a while. I'm not hungry for anything else. Very clean, and I'm glad. I'll keep those in I have those food grade buckets, the 5-gallon with gainer lids that screw on and off. I have quite a few of those. I've had for years. And I will put the Mylar bag in that. They say mice will eat through these. I had cats running around my house, so I doubt that we have any mice. And since I have the buckets, I'll put them down in the bucket. I'll put some of the jars in the bucket too. And generally, I'll just label the bucket. I'll put the oxygen absorbers in there, and I'll seal it up. And it seals pretty tight. I don't have oats left. I'm going to have to get a few more jars. Won't have to buy oats for a couple of years unless you got a good family. Now, that's pretty full. This one's sealed, this one's not. The one that's not sealed is the one I'll get an oxygen absorber out of. And I have my curling iron. This is one I use in my hair. I'm going to seal it right up with that. I'm going to put 2 in. This is a pretty good sized bag, so we'll put 2 of these in. That was sealed a little bit, suctioned in. I might even put 3. That's a big bag. I did put some in some of the jars before I sealed them. Just makes them feel tighter. I put 1 in there. Now this is got that oxygen absorbers in it. I just take it. This iron is hot. Just hold it on there. And then seal it right up. Make sure you seal it good. You don't want any air getting in there. And that's good to go. I've sealed up many bags they're not going to use. I've found this just ends up being waste, and you're not going to use it. You're wasting your time with the brains doing this. And I'll label these oats, steel cup organic oats, and then I'll put them down in like I said, one of those buckets. We'll just do another one of these bags because I've got enough jars here to last me for quite a while. One of these jars will make a lot of oats. I make up a quart jar after they're made. When I fill up a quart jar, almost, I'll put my cinnamon and butter in there, my sweetener. I'll put them in the fridge, and then I'll get them out in the mornings and heat them up with whatever fruit or nuts or pumpkin seeds or whatever I want with them. and they're ready to go. I hope you learned something from this. I hope you'll try it. And once you invest in some bags, I'll buy these in bulk too. Oxygen absorbers, jars, which I've had jars for years, but you'd have to maybe look at some flea markets like I do and find some jars and buy you something in bulk. That's how I preserve my greens. And again, I buy in bulk what I'm going to eat or use bag and see how you like it. And if you like it, you can do more. We'll see you on the next show.